Boxing Ego here. If you like this video, make sure you hit the like button and also subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon on the top of your screen to get notified when the latest new content drops. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button and also subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest in boxing. Now, it's official. Gennady Handnoguys Golovkin. He must be passing all of his medicals. He doesn't need an eye exam, and he's passing his eye test because he's seen what we all seen, including myself on Saturday in the fight with Canelo versus Chavez Jr. He says that the fight was boring, and I think a lot of people were left with that sentiment that the fight, it just didn't deliver. I mean, you had one guy working, and the other guy just seemed gun shy. He seemed sluggish. He didn't seem like he had a game plan, no adjustments, and it was a lopsided fight. And this is no strange occurrence with boxing. Sometimes we get that. However, even in fights that I've seen, like let's say Floyd Mayweather versus Canelo, Floyd Mayweather versus Arturo Gatti, those were also one-sided fights. Even Floyd Robert Guerrero, all those were one-sided fights. But to me, I think there's a big reason. I think Floyd is just on another level skill-wise, and that his opponents didn't really have an answer for anything he was doing. Now, I'm not taking anything away from Canelo Alvarez, but he was in there with a man who clearly, for whatever reason, had no plan B and couldn't get punches off. He didn't. I mean, he was really he wasn't barely even throwing punches. I can't say the same for Canelo. Even when Canelo was missing, I remember in the 11th round versus Floyd Mayweather, Canelo, he threw like a heat, like a fastball at Floyd, and Floyd dodged it and then looked through the ropes. So to me, that was an effort Canelo was trying to beat, especially in those first 3 rounds. He just couldn't figure it out. He just didn't have what it took to catch up to Floyd, and Floyd was giving him too many different looks. Same thing with Robert the Ghost Guerrero. I don't think that Guerrero was not trying to win. I think he just was being outclassed. But with this particular fight, I think it was a combination of Canelo's skills plus, so his skills were outclassing him, but in addition to that, Chavez wasn't providing much resistance at all. Like, he wasn't going for broke. See, the things like James Kirkland, win, lose, or draw, one thing I respect about him, he's a fighter at heart. Because when he fought Canelo, you've seen that he was willing to die in the ring and willing to, in order to make the fight his type of fight, he was willing to do whatever it took, even if that meant him getting knocked out, which in turn is what happened. Canelo knocked him out, but he was trying to make it his style of fight, and I could respect that. So a lot of people, they don't like when you bring this up, but the whole Mexican heart or black people have skill, it doesn't work like that. You can't relegate a certain attribute to any race, because truth be told, Chavez Jr. has quit in the fight with Andres Fonfara, you know what I mean, because it was in between rounds. He put up a lame performance versus Canelo, and there was a lot of buildup, and this was supposed to be for the Mexican civil rights and things like that, you know what I mean. It's supposed to be for all bragging rights, you know what I mean. Culiacan versus Guadalajara, and he put up a dud. Victor Ortiz has quit a bunch of times, right? People from Argentina, Lucas Matisse quit. Chavez Sr. even quit when he fought Oscar De La Hoya, right? So you can't relegate it to and say, oh, there's a ton of tough Mexican fighters who, like Orlando Salido, he fought Mikey Garcia, got dropped 4 times, and by the fight's end, even though it ended prematurely with a headbutt and Mikey Garcia getting a broken nose, he was starting to come on in that fight, right? So there's a ton of Mexican fighters that have a tremendous amount of heart, but you can't just say all across the board. That's a stereotype, and that's not accurate. But back to the fight, Golovkin seen what we all seen, which was a fight that didn't deliver. In terms of pay-per-view main events, I don't really recall one off the top of my head, Mayweather-Berto included, right? Pacquiao, Jesse Vargas, Pacquiao, Rios, all of those fights. I can't think of one that disappointed as much as this. And especially like when you talk about Pacquiao, Algieri, Pacquiao, Rios, we knew what those fights were going to be for the most part, you know what I'm saying? Rios, I was a little bit interested because I wanted to see how Pacquiao did coming off a knockout, Rios coming off a loss, and Rios being pretty big even though he's moving up. But the outcome, we pretty knew. Mayweather Berto, we pretty much knew what the outcome would be. And those fights, they did thrill a lot more than this Canelo versus Chavez. This one was just flat, you know what I mean? Canelo was just getting his work off. And Gennady Golovkin did an interview with the Los Angeles Times, link in the description, and they're interviewing Golovkin. Golovkin says, Saturday was a little boring, like sparring. Canelo doesn't want to finish. That's not good for the people. A lot of people bought tickets and the pay-per-view. For what? For a show? Everybody likes drama, like my knockouts. If I see I could beat them, I do. And you can't really argue that. I mean, barring the Danny Jacobs, Golovkin has stopped everybody in the last, 23 fights or whatnot. And this is good, man. Canelo versus Golovkin is a good fight. De La Hoya, he's saying that he thought Chavez Jr. would provide a little bit more resistance, like most people thought. And he didn't. But he says this will definitely... De La Hoya, I don't know why he's so fixated with Mayweather-Pacquiao. Like, just to put it in perspective, you guys got to understand, Mayweather-Pacquiao happened in 2015. And De La Hoya, every instance, every opportunity, from Canelo Kirkland to Canelo Golovkin, you know what I mean? Years later, he's still talking about Mayweather-Pacquiao. It just is getting kind of old. Like, okay, you were underwhelmed by Mayweather-Pacquiao, which happened 2 years ago. It's like he's like obsessed with that fight. You know what I mean? Because I heard De La Hoya said something like, Canelo Golovkin will deliver, and it's not going to be another Mayweather versus Pacquiao. Like, okay. But Mayweather-Pacquiao, see, and this is why I got to check people. This is where new media comes in, because De La Hoya is saying Canelo versus Golovkin will deliver, and it'll be high stakes energy and action and stuff. I agree with that. I think it will deliver action. I don't really see how it can't based on the fighting styles. However, we're just coming off of the heels of a terrible pay-per-view and Canelo versus Chavez Jr. In fact, the whole card didn't really impress me, to be honest. And once again, a lot of the lame, bogus writers and boxing channels and aficionados and people in the sport, this boxing media, old media, you know what I mean? That's why you got the new media, is I never even hear them complaining about that. I hear more fans complaining because they're the ones that bought the t-shirts, bought the headbands, bought the pay-per-view, bought tickets that were overpriced or pretty expensive, right? And they're the ones that really came up short. But I don't see the boxing writers saying that this fight alone ruined Canelo's legacy, or Chavez Sr., his legacy is ruined because of his son, or this ruined boxing and all these eyes on this particular fight, and this was the worst, most underwhelming. But they did that for Mayweather-Pacquiao. We know what time it is. It's because they didn't want Mayweather to win. People keep paying to see him lose, right? And it just, Oscar seems a bit obsessed with Mayweather-Pacquiao in that particular fight. You know what I mean? First he said, that's why I can't really take what promoters say. I have to take it with a grain of salt. He said he had the blueprint for Canelo to beat Mayweather. That was wrong. He said that Victor Ortiz, yeah, hey guys, vicious Victor Ortiz, he's a strong guy. He's gonna beat Mayweather. And then he didn't beat him and ended up getting knocked out by Mayweather. You know what I mean? So I just have to point out these inconsistencies within the media and the double standards. How Mayweather-Pacquiao, people said it was the worst thing ever. And I had more fun with the Mayweather-Pacquiao fight. I thought it was a lot more entertaining, seeing Floyd get clipped in round 4 and walking himself to the ropes, and Pacquiao trying his best to unload on him. That was more fun than anything I seen in this fight, right? Because it was literally looked like one person was trying. And it looked a little bit staged, the whole WWE in part with Canelo and Golovkin, which was a pleasant surprise, but it didn't leave a good taste in the mouth of fans, especially the paying fans. But on to the next order of business, which is Canelo versus Golovkin. Now that's a fight. It's a fight we've, as fans, been asking for. People want to see it. I want to see it. It's a meaningful fight still. So I'm really about that. I like that. I have no complaints. I'm glad that Canelo and his team got it together. I can't really say, I mean, the only thing I could say is Golovkin should have took the 15 million flat rate maybe, but at least what he and his team are putting out publicly, they've always kind of demanded the Canelo fight. But we cannot say the same thing with Team Canelo for the whole duration, right? There are parts that are they're questionable. Like, you had a 15-day negotiating period to negotiate with, per the WBC rules, to negotiate with Golovkin, and then you vacated your belt. And now that's also caused a rift between Canelo and the WBC, who he said is not fighting for their belt because he doesn't like how he was treated during that time. So, you know what I mean? There were periods like that, but there's no use crying over spilt milk. I'm just glad the fight's happening. 2017 is a great year for it to happen. I think 2017 already has been better than 2016. 2016 we had Canelo versus Liam Smith and Amir Khan. We had Pacquiao Vargas, you know what I mean? But this year we've had Danny Garcia, Keith Thurman, Anthony Joshua versus Vladimir Klitschko. We got Kell Brook versus Errol Spence. We got Tank Davis winning a title and then now defending his title. James DeGale, Badu Jack. We had Mikey Garcia, crazy knockout. Curtis Stevens, David Lemieux, Leo Santa Cruz, Carl Frampton 2, the very first month, right? It's lit. We got some good fights, minus Pacquiao versus Jeff Horn, the fight I'm not looking forward to. But Canelo Golovkin, add that to the list. Some really, really good fights. Ward Kovalev 2, great fight. First fight was great. You know what I mean? Both guys are building up this fight better in the second go round. So I'm really happy with where boxing's at, and I'm happy Golovkin's getting his shot and Canelo is getting his opportunity to prove he was never scared and actually fight the person. Because he was saying, hey, cut the bullshit and stop the mamadas and saying all this stuff. Now you have a chance to actually prove it. Golovkin also said to the Los Angeles Times, I watch boxing closely. I knew Canelo was going to beat Chavez easy, and I thought he was going to get up there after what he did last year and make another scene, say something like, I did this to Chavez and I'll do the same thing to you. So, link in the description of the Los Angeles Times article. Good stuff. Golovkin also said, I saw the screen, looked around at the atmosphere. I thought, wow, this is my dream. Amazing moment. Everybody wants this fight, not just me and him. Boxing needs this fight. Golovkin's 100% right. Boxing needs this fight, and what better year? We're already getting great fights and competitive matches, minus a certain, you know what I mean, Pacquiao, Jeff Horn. I'm not really putting too much stock into that, but you know what I mean, maybe I think Jeff Horn can do better versus Pacquiao than Chavez did in hindsight. But other than that, I'm not going to complain because 2017 has been wonderful for both. And I'm just glad Canelo and Golovkin are fighting. I don't know where it's going to be yet. I don't know if Triple G's team ended up getting 15 mil, if they got a percentage split, flat rate. We don't know. This was just kind of a surprise at the end of the fight. So more details should come. Let me know what you guys think. Were you bored with Canelo Chavez Jr.? And what do you think? What are your predictions, early predictions for Canelo Golovkin? Drop it in the comment section. Make sure you share the video, like the video as always. Hate, comment, and subscribe. Till next video is Ego signing off. So if you enjoyed this video and want more content like this on the channel, you can show your appreciation by going to the PayPal donate button or the YouTube support button. And you can donate any amount that you feel is equivalent to the value of this video. Much more to come. Thank you guys for your support. Boxing Ego, the future of boxing.